From our very first breath, there is a doorway in us that opens to spiritual awakening, inner freedom, and the raw wonder of existence. Yet as we grow into adulthood, we gradually bury that doorway under layers of fear, duty, and the illusion of control. However, in spirituality, in healing, and in personal transformation, there is one truth that has echoed through every mystic, saint, and awakened soul. And it is this: unless you become like a little child, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. But here's the catch. Most people have forgotten how to return. They confuse childish with childlike. They think to be wise means to be serious, calculated, skeptical, and armored. And in this very forgetting, they cut off themselves from the deepest well of power they will ever touch. By the time this video is over, and you have regained your keys into the kingdom of heaven, you would have done so by knowing the following 4 things. First, why the childlike mind is unique, powerful, and matters. Second, why we have forgotten how it feels. Third, the empowerment that comes with returning to that state and why it is the shift every soul is looking for. And fourth, the 5 prompts and thought cues you can use daily to achieve this. Let us begin. Think about it. A child looks at a flower and doesn't need to name its species, analyze its economic value, or compare it to another bloom before it simply gazes in wonder. This unique mind is not distracted by the constant inner chatter of the adult ego, that constant labeling, categorizing, and comparing based solely on the external attributes, but which denies the inherent value of a thing and seeks to make it more or less than another object. It is absorbed, alive, and present. This is why the childlike mind is, consistently, the most powerful spiritual state that every mystical teacher over time has praised and exalted. It lives in the present instead of the past or future, moves with trust instead of chronic doubt, sees through the eyes of innocence, not cynicism, and receives joy from simple things adults have long stopped noticing. Unfortunately, here lies the paradox, for while the world tells us to grow up, true spiritual mastery demands we, quote and unquote, grow back down into the purity of childlike perception. Is there a reason for this paradox? The origin is simple. The majority of people labor under the misconception that childlike minds are childish minds, and this is the point where they get lost. The childlike mind is not about immaturity. It's not even about refusing responsibility or ignoring wisdom. Instead, it is about something so delicate and subtle as to be entirely missed, the merging of innocence with awareness. Simply put, unlike the childish self, which is impulsive, reactive, and self-centered, the childlike self is open, trusting, curious, humble, and really alive to mystery, and there lies its power, its uniqueness, and its use case in spiritual transformation. But why did we forsake such paradise? 4 things, working alone or in combination, forced us out of that allegorical Eden into the current wilderness of struggle and survival we mostly live in today. The first is conditioning. Over time, we slowly discovered that society tends to reward logic, seriousness, and control, not really wonder and play. The second is wounding, wherein the painful events of childhood gradually convinced us that innocence is unsafe. So we replaced it with a kind of defensive armor. And the third is ego identification, which naturally flows from that second point. Fearing the vulnerability of childlike openness, we decided as adults to cling to titles, roles, and self-importance. The fourth is cultural programming. We're told that childlike awe is a weakness and honestly should not be indulged in or even displayed. Curiosity is considered naiveness, and joy is not free, it must be earned. And so we grow older, yet strangely, smaller. Our vision narrows, our souls dim, and we start to mistake that jadedness for wisdom. But let me remind you, and gladly too, your childlike mind never died. It's still alive and just waiting inside, behind the walls you've built all these years. Now that we know, let's break down these walls and invite it back in, because it's our key bearer, our roadmap, and our guiding hand to grant us access back into Eden. Returning to the miraculous through the childlike mind does not mean abandoning your adult self, rather it means liberating it. When you awaken your childlike perception, you dissolve anxiety, expand your creativity, and deepen your spiritual connection. And what happens next is that wonders are unlocked in your life. Your meditation becomes play, not struggles or rigid repetitions. Your prayers become conversations, not formalities or empty recitations. Your relationships become explorations, not mental games or crafty negotiations. And your daily life becomes alive, not mechanical acts that just go through the motions. This is the frequency shift every soul is secretly longing for, one that most people know they need, but simply feel too hardened by the vicissitudes of life to access again. But you can, and I will now show you in practical ways how easy it can be, if only you agree to have a childlike mind. Here are 5 powerful, practical gateways to bring your adult mind back into childlike wonder. Use them not as abstract ideas, but as daily practices. First, ask yourself, what would amaze me as if I had never seen it before? Then find it and take a childlike look at it. Every day, take one ordinary thing, a cup of water, a tree outside your window, even your own hand, and pretend it is the first time you have ever seen it. Allow yourself to marvel, to wonder, and to ask, how is this even possible? This practice over time gradually dismantles inner numbness and reawakens awe. Second, ask, what if today is all about play, not performance? Children do not play to win. They play because, well, life itself is joy. When you catch yourself slipping into perfectionism, just ask, how can I make this playful? Whether it's cooking, working, or even meditation, try shifting from performing well to playing well, then just watch what shifts within you. Third, ask, what would I do if I weren't afraid of looking foolish? The adult ego fears embarrassment more than death. But children, they'll sing, dance, laugh, and imagine without any shame at all. Maybe try doing one thing every day without fear of being judged, as these little carefree acts crack open not only your emotional, but also your spiritual freedom. The fourth probe is this. What question would a child ask about this moment? Children are really unashamed question askers. In your daily mundane activities or spiritual practice, dare to ask questions you think you should already know. What is love? Why do I exist? Why is the sky blue? Just ask in a state of wondering, with no agenda or predetermined answer in mind. Finally, ask yourself, where can I surrender control today? The childlike mind trusts the flow. Without doubt, it knows it's held, protected, and covered. And as an adult seeking to return to this mindset, it's important to practice consciously releasing control, maybe by letting someone else lead the way or simply resting in stillness without needing an outcome. In that surrender, the childlike spirit breathes again, and in that state you also breathe again. Here's the non-negotiable truth. No matter how old you are in years, the childlike mind is not a stage you outgrow. It is the original wisdom you are meant to grow back into, one that is sorely needed today. Yes, we live in a world obsessed with seriousness, but true spirituality calls us back to innocent and playful wonder. Yes, we live in a culture that worships knowledge, but the soul thirsts for innocence, an innocence that opens itself up to receive timeless wisdom. Yes, we live in a time where control is mistaken for power, but true power is trust in divine love. Today, the invitation is simple but radical. Become as a child again. Not childish and not naive but open. Become alive, surrendered, and full of awe. If you return to that state, you will not only heal your own wounds, you will see the entire universe through eyes that can finally recognize God in every stone, every breath, and every face. Your childlike mind is the key back to Eden you've been searching for. Now that you have found it, my only hope is that you will have the courage to both pick it up and use it. Like and subscribe if you found value in this presentation, and keep on being the earthly ripple of divine love as you remain blessed and renewed on all levels.